Huh? Hey everybody, I'm going to show you how to build a theme in OBS using all sorts of different components. I'm going to do this a little bit differently than some other people. It might seem a little unorthodox, but trust me, it works. Makes editing easy, expanding easy, updating easy, and settings are universal throughout the theme, which if you don't want, you can always input things individually as your source. So you have two options there. You'll understand more about that once we get into it. This is kind of be like cooking when you set up your mise en place. You get all of your ingredients and portions and prepping done, and then you create dishes. And that's what we're going to do here, and it's going to be super magical. So let's dive into it right now. I'm going to go ahead and switch to my game scene. So this is a nice little clean OBS, fresh, nothing installed here. What we're going to do is go ahead and start building our components. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to throw in my background, and we're going to create a new scene called background. And in background, let me get rid of this stinger too. So here in background, I'm going to add a video or a media source here, and I'm just going to call this background input. Pull this over, and I'm going to open up my source for this, and it's right here. And under that, we're going to put loop, so it just keeps repeating, and we're going to close file when inactive, so we're not eating up processing. Okay, hit OK, and there is our awesome background that I created in DaVinci. Now, this really doesn't do much for us. We need to start building some other components, and then we're going to build a new scene with these components. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a cam. And this here, we're going to, in our sources, we're going to add a, what are we adding here? I have no clue what we're adding. I would like to find a video capture device. And this is my cam input. And I'm going to choose my Game Capture HD60 Pro, which is this guy. And there it is. And I'm going to stretch this out to about here. And there's the cam. So cam is now done. If we were to use this with the background, you would either see the camera or the background. What a lot of people do, which I kind of don't suggest, that they just take this and then they just resize it. And they just kind of put it here, and that's going to be like their game scene and stuff like that. And while this works, I think there's kind of more effective ways, more visually pleasing ways of doing this, which I'm going to show you now. We're going to create two scenes. They're both masking scenes. One is for our game scene, and one is for our just chatting scene. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do cam letterbox. And then I'm going to create another scene called cam vertical. And we're going to add our cam source. So I'm going to do scene, cam, okay. And what we can do here is right click on the scene and go to filters. And I'm going to add a mask. Okay, this is going to be called letterbox mask. And I'm going to browse for this image that I created. And it looks like, if I can open it, what it looks like is this. It's white with two black bars, top and bottom. So black is transparent, white is opaque. So where the white is, your video or your cam will show. And that's what we're going to add onto this. So now I hit close, and you can see these black bars have appeared on the top and bottom. And for our cam vertical, we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to add our cam source and add a filter to the scene itself. And this is going to be mask, and I'm going to call this vertical mask. Browse, and this is a little bit different. It looks like this is what my mask looks like. So the white is kind of like this rectangle with rounded corners, and that's it. So let's go and build our just chatting scene right now. So here under scene is just our blank top scene. If we press F2, we can rename it. So I'm going to do just chatting. Pretty easy. And I'm going to add a scene called background. You're going to start seeing how this is coming together now. And we're going to add another scene here called cam letterbox. Now what's really cool about this is if I go and I change our background source file, it'll also change it here on just chatting and anywhere else you've put this background scene. So you don't have to go to a bunch of different scenes changing your background, you just change it in one place. Really easy. Let's go ahead and do another scene called game scene. And I'm going to do a display capture. And so this is just game capture. We'll say okay. So that's our game capture here. I'm going to add another scene. And this is called cam vertical. And now this is going to be our game scene right there. All donesies. And here's our just chatting scene. So now we have 2 scenes done with the ingredients that we've created. If you want, you can also create a scene of your game capture to have it to where it's completely editable. But I really don't do that. I just kind of throw it in where I need it. Let's create our logo. So I'm going to do another scene here called logo. And I'm going to do a media source. No, is it a media source? It is a media source. Logo input. I'm going to go find my logo here, which is, and it is right here. Is this it? No, that is my background. It's this guy. I'm going to hit OK. So here's the logo. Super easy. And I'm going to go back into just chatting, and I'm going to add a new scene called logo. Bing. There's our logo, and I'm going to put it right here. I'm going to shrink this down because I don't need it that big. Wait for it to pop in so I can see what it looks like. If it wants to. Oh, you know what we forgot to do? We forgot to loop it. I'm going to hit close when inactive. Again, saving on that processing. Here it is. About right there. Done. So now, if we ever change our logo or update it, or we want to do a festive logo, or change for a certain season or something, all we have to do is change the logo source file under logo, and we're off to the races, and it updates it throughout our scene. Okay, so here I'm going to just shrink this down because I want this to appear like here in my camera box. About right here. Let's see it fade back in. There it is. Cool. So there is the logo right there. Cool. And then our just chatting right here. Now when we're done with things, we can always just lock them, and we're done with that. One thing we've forgotten is audio. So we have 2 audio bits that we need to worry about, which is our computer sound and our microphone sound. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have one here called mic. Hit OK. And under mic, I'm going to do an audio input. And I'm going to choose my interface input. You can do default. I prefer to use my interface. Whatever you want to do. Under here, I'm going to go into advanced audio properties, and I'm going to set it to mono because I'm not recording my voice in stereo. All right, so now we're all set. I'm going to turn that down. And if you want, you can turn it up. That's fine. I'm just afraid that me recording this it's going to pick it up. So I'm just going to turn it down for right now. So let's go back into here, and we are going to input our mic. Again, If we need to edit our mic or anything like that, we go down to mic, scene, and adjust it here. So it will update it throughout the whole theme. That's the whole point of setting it up like this. Very simple. So some things that we have these audio inputs, which actually have no audio. So what I like to do is just click 3 dots and just hit hide on things that I know they don't have any volume. Only our microphone does, and that's all I'm worried about. All right, next up we're going to do our game sound input. So what I've done is I've created a scene here called game sound. We're going to hit the plus here, and we are going to do audio output capture. So this is going to capture what comes out of our speakers. And game sound output. And I'm going to just set this again to my interface. Speakers. So any sound that's playing through my computer will now show up here. If I go into my game scene, I can now do scene, and I'm going to go with game sound. Da-da-dump. And then we're going to also add our microphone because we need that while we're playing. Done. All right, so now in our game scene, we have our mic and our game sound. And in our just chatting, it's just the microphone. So very easy there to have all of that. Everything else is done. Logo. And now you can kind of see how we've built up this whole theme using these ingredients to create these 2 scenes and our logo. The next thing I'm going to do is do a transition. So if you have a certain stinger transition that you've created or you've downloaded from somewhere, we're going to click the plus icon here next to scene transitions, and we're going to type in stinger. And if we preview the transition, that's literally all it does. What we need is an animation that goes between the A and B. So here I have one that I created called circle transition. And if I preview it, now you can see the background changes before the transition covers the whole scene. And that's what the whole transition is supposed to do. When it covers the screen, you switch the scene to the next one, and then as the transition goes away, you're on the new scene. So you'll see it go from green to blue before the transition covers the screen. So how do we battle that? We have a transition point. This transition is at 800 milliseconds. So now we can preview it. And there we go. Hit OK. So anytime we switch between scenes, that transition will pop. Very simple. Okay. Now, is there anything else that we want to do? Sure. Let's create a starting soon scene. So I'm just going to hit plus. I just call this starting scene. I'm going to put this above just chatting. I like to put them in order of how I use them. Okay. So first thing I'm going to do is throw in a scene here called background. Ding. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add another scene called logo that we've created. And I'm just going to kind of shrink that down a little bit and put it right here. Perfect. The next thing I'm going to add is a media source. And I'm not going to create a scene for this because I only use it in one place, which is here on the on the starting soon scene. And I'm going to call this timer. Hit OK. I'm going to find that real quick. And it's a video that I made in DaVinci, which is just my clock with a transparent background. It just says starting soon. Now what's cool is if you double click this timer and you hit close file when inactive, if you leave this scene and then come back, it starts the timer over again, which is cool. There you go. Because if you open up OBS onto this scene, the timer starts and you haven't started streaming yet. And you're like, how do I reset the clock? Just switch to another scene, then switch back, and it'll reset the clock. Very simple. That's a whole thing on how to make a timer in DaVinci. Plenty of tutorials on how to do that. All right. So now we have these 3 scenes, all donesies. So in short, that's how I build an OBS scene. It's super duper easy, super quick. But what I really love about it is that it's highly tweakable and editable, and it doesn't give you much fuss to where you can quickly, completely revamp your theme by just swapping out files through here. Like just swapping your background source file, your logo source file, etc. So if you wanted to have like a holiday theme, a summer theme, if you wanted to change your theme based on what game you were playing, it's really simple to do that. Honestly, I would say if you're changing your theme that much, you might just want to create new scenes, like scene collections right here, and just have one built out for every different reason you would need a new theme. But theme. So but anyway, that's how I would do it. You can do it however you want, but this is how I build out an OBS. Super simple. Anyway, thank you for watching. My name is Sky King, obviously, because you just saw my name everywhere in this, and I will talk to you all later. Goodbye.